Hello, I am Rick Barton, the CEO of the International Critical Incident Stress Foundation, and I am speaking with you today about leadership as a CISM Perspectives topic. I want to think that I'm an experienced leader. I've been in a leadership role for more than 30 years in different capacities, from first-line supervisor in a state agency, a law enforcement and medical position, or medical response position, worked my way up through those ranks, led that agency for many years. That was the Maryland Park Service and the Department of Natural Resources. And then became a county administrator, where I was the lead executive, appointed executive for a county government. And now for the last nearly 7 years with the International Critical Incident Stress Foundation. And so what I wanted to talk with you briefly about today and share with you as part of a series, the first of a series, about how to manage and be a leader during these times, during an incident like this or a crisis like this that is not a short-term incident. The pandemic, the coronavirus, COVID-19, it's almost impossible to refer to as an incident. It's not even a once-in-a-generation disaster. It's once in a century, as we're finding out. And there is very little to compare it to for people. Unless somebody was around in managing the Spanish flu crisis, how do you compare? But there are other disaster events, long-term and short-term, that are related, that have similar aspects and similar conditions in terms of how you lead and how you work through this. So it is a tremendous case study for leadership. Just unparalleled. And as you watch, as all of us watch, or perhaps some of you are participating in the decisions of leaders, the decisions they're making and what helps them make up those decisions, come to those decisions, and then how they communicate them. Again, a case study, much as you can learn from public incidents of all kinds that leaders have to manage through. This one in particular, when the leaders were making decisions to close down and shut down activities, including universities and college and public schools and recreation and on, shopping malls, restaurants. I, at the time, thought closing is difficult, reopening will be far more difficult. The decision part of that, what makes up that decision, how do you decide that it's now safe enough, knowing that any type of advanced treatment or a vaccine is a long way off, and we're not going to stay closed that long. So how do you come to that decision? So there's 4 areas that I want to briefly introduce to you that are single words that will help you understand your reaction and our organization's reaction and an agency's reaction and a society's reaction to this sort of thing. So the first is, when you encounter an incident or a disaster or a crisis, you're going to react. So the first is to react. And you might react that way when you come upon a scene of a car accident, either as a responder or as an individual. You're going to have a reaction. It's the, oh my, what is that? And of course, there could be screams, there can be panic, there can be all kinds of different reactions, right? And responders in particular are trained to mask that, to not react. But leaders have to understand that we're going to react as a society. And if you're a leader of an agency, you're going to react. The second phase, if you will, is to adjust. All right, you've reacted. It's okay to shriek, calm down. So a snake has just made itself appear before your eyes, or a spider dropped onto your lap. You react. Even if you're not afraid of them, you scream, adjust, adapt, and manage. Those are the next 3 areas, and they run together quite a bit. So the spider lands in your lap, you react, you adjust, you shift backwards, you adapt, and you manage. You swat the spider off of you. If only the pandemic was that easy. It's not. So you're seeing those 4 phases, reaction, and then people are adjusting. That was the closure of everything. That's the adjustment. Painful as it is, the NCAA basketball tournament canceled, the Olympics canceled or postponed. all these various things. Public schools closed for the year, done. Graduations canceled, reshaped into a different way of doing it. So those are the adjustments. And the adapting is similar to what I just said. A school has to adjust and not have graduation. And what do? They adapt. They have video presentations. They have a new approach to graduation. They might do something using a remote connection. And you see this with meetings. In-person meetings, gone. That's the adjustment. Adapting is to have a Zoom meeting, a Google meeting, or whatever, Vimeo, whatever technology you want to use that functions for you. That's the adaptation. And it also becomes part of management. Management, though, in this particular case, is the process of reopening. That's a big part of it. And adapting as individuals, we've all had to adapt in our lifestyles and our family relations and so forth. Well, now you move into that management phase, and you hope that the management phase is going to create treatments. It's going to result in treatments and result in a serum and a vaccine and healthy practices. It's going to be all those things. So for leaders, if they look at any incident, responders certainly can look at it this way and do, and any emergency planner an emergency manager will look at it this way, even if they use different terms. This just simplifies it, if you will. You react, you adjust, you adapt, and then you manage. One aspect of this as a leader of people, if you are a leader of an organization, whether it's a retail store or a government agency or anywhere where you manage people, you are managing a team of people. And something that is forgotten way too often is how any incident affects people. And at the organization where I work, the International Critical Incident Stress Foundation, and we're bringing these CISM perspectives to you, that's a big part of what we do, is helping you as individuals and as leaders help your team understand and cope with these kind of incidents and disasters and how it affects them as human beings and as part of your team. So another time when I visit with you, I'll talk more about leadership of your team and how to make sure you don't forget to manage your team and to care for your team as human beings and as a collective society or family, work family. And there are techniques for that. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I want to thank you for joining us here with CISM Perspectives. And again, I am Rick Barton, the CEO of ICISF. Thanks.